You're wasting everybody's time, Senator.
You're a whack job.
Senator,
You are
wasting.
Well, I think we are
next level whack job.
Yep, so complete chaos broke loose at various Senate hearings yesterday. You saw right there MAGA Republican Senator Kennedy cross-examining Richard Painter on a crypto bill. Painter is a ethics lawyer who used to work in the White House about 15 or 20 years ago or so. Painter wants to make sure there's transparency in crypto. I'll show you more of that in a moment. I want to show you what else went down in the Senate right here. You had a lot of ambassadors appointed by Donald Trump testifying, and they didn't know the most basic facts about the country that they are an ambassador for. You would think that they would just do some minimal homework and just study some basic facts. You think if you were about to testify before the Senate about your confirmation to be an ambassador, you'd learn about the country. That's just me. So here, Democratic Senator Tammy Duckworth called out Trump's ambassador to Singapore for being completely unprepared and clueless. Here, watch this.
What does holding the ASEAN chairmanship entail for Singapore? Can you name one thing? A role that they will have to play as ASEAN chair. What will?
Well, there, you know that there, this ASEAN chair is not only one country. There are 10 countries involved.
No, the ASEAN chair is one country.
One country,
10.
but there are 10 countries involved as an ASEAN group.
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question, sir. Can you name one thing that will be of critical importance to Singapore as ASEAN chair? A role. There are many things. Can you name one
Defense,
thing?
economics.
Those are very broad. Name an issue.
Trade.
I don't think, no. Okay, let's do something. In what way does the United States Navy work with Singapore, and how do you envision strengthening the U.S. Navy's work with Singapore? And are there any facilities that come to mind that are central to our relationship with Singapore?
Thank you for your question, but we have a naval presence in Singapore, and our military, they always do exercise with the Singapore. They come here, the Army of Singapore, they come here for the training as well. So we have a close ties with the Singapore in defense.
Can you name a specific thing? Please, I'm trying to help you here, but you've not even done your homework, sir. You want to be ambassador to Singapore, one of the most important friends we have in the Indo-Pacific, a key place that we're going to be fighting against our greatest adversary in the region, the PRC. Singapore may feature incredible culture, but that should not be treated as a glamour posting. This nation is too important to the United States, to ASEAN, to the entire region. And frankly, I think the mission is important to U.S. interests and national security, and it should actually be a foreign service officer. But I have even larger concerns with the political pick, when that political pick is somebody as unqualified as you. I've opposed political picks for Singapore from Democrats. So this is not a partisan issue. I just feel that you are not taking this seriously, and you think this is a glamour posting, that you're going to live a nice life in Singapore. But what we need is someone who's going to actually do the work. I'm out of time. I have a couple additional questions related to management that I'll submit for the record. But I want to reinforce again for you right now, you are not currently prepared for this posting, period, and you need to shape up and do some homework.
Okay, next you had Kimberly Guilfoyle. Yes, Don Jr.'s ex-fiance or girlfriend who was shipped out to Greece after Don Jr. got a new girlfriend. And here she is in her opening statement. This is completely absurd. Let's play it.
It is with great and profound sense of honor and deep humility that I appear before you today as President Trump's nominee to serve as the United States ambassador to Greece. I extend my sincerest gratitude to the President for his faith in my abilities, and to Secretary Rubio and to Sergio Gore here present today, the head of PPO, and his amazing team for their collective trust and confidence placed in me. I also thank this committee for the opportunity to be here and for your careful consideration of my nomination.
All right, let me show you now the full context of that exchange between MAGA Republican Senator Kennedy and Richard Painter, the ethics lawyer, over this crypto bill. Here, play this clip.
Mr. Painter, do you think Senator Gillibrand is a crook?
No, and I do not think all politicians are crooks.
And
And
why did you call her a crook?
I did not call her a crook. Now, Senator, you need to
here's
focus
what
on
I'm
this
looking
bill.
right now.
You're doing this again. You did it the last
published a
hearing.
tweet that
You
said
need to
Senator
read the
Gillibrand's
bill.
role in stablecoin regulation, $217,000 in crypto donations. You tweeted that.
Yes, I
And
do.
then you said, the crypto industry is buying Congress and the White House. This won't end well. Why do you think the crypto industry is buying Senator Gillibrand?
I said, look at the campaign contributions from this industry.
Do you think they've bought her?
No, I said, look at the campaign
You said
contributions.
they bought her. Do you think they bought her?
Senator, you need to focus on this bill instead of trying to distort my Twitter.
You called one of my
you
colleagues
were quoting
a crook,
what a Marxist in
and-
Chicago said
And
about
what
me.
evidence do you
make
have
no
that she's
sense.
a crook?
I said there is massive amount of campaign contributions coming into this Congress from the crypto industry.
Do you want to apologize
You
to
need-
Senator Gillibrand?
I do not want you to have to apologize for passing
Do
legislation
you want to
that
apologize
destroys
to
our
Senator
economy.
Gillibrand for calling her
You
a
are
crook?
distorting
crook?
what I said, just like you did in the last hearing. You're wasting everybody's time, Senator.
You're a whack job.
Senator,
You are a
wasting.
major league
Well, I think we are.
everyone's
next
time.
level
we-
whack
You're-
job.
you-
I think we
Is
are.
this middle school, Senator?
Senators and witness. Thank you both.
I think
for
you
your
should apologize, Senator
I think,
Gillibrand.
Senator, you're wasting our time. This is not middle school.
Now, just to give you a little bit of background about where Richard Painter was coming from, if you're just confused what happened in that clip I just showed you. Painter said the day before this clip, at the hearing tomorrow on the Clarity Act, I will urge federal regulation aimed at safe and transparent trading in crypto markets, enacted and implemented by federal officials, free of financial conflicts of interest, and that includes the president. And he shows, for example, how the Trump meme coin was worth $45.47 on January 19th, 2025. And then yesterday it was $8.73. So who made money on this meme coin? He says, well, we know Trump made money on the meme coin. We know the insiders make money on the meme coin. We know Trump earns transaction fees on the meme coin. So that's who makes money on the meme coin right there. But I wanted to give you context just what that exchange was about, because you have a lot of senators. And by the way, there are some Democratic senators and Democratic Congress members who take a lot of money from crypto also. It's not just purely the MAGA Republicans, although there's more MAGA Republicans. And look, my own view of it is that there is a place for crypto and Bitcoin, and we should modernize and we should embrace crypto and Bitcoin. But we've got to do it in a very transparent way. And we can't have politicians abusing their power. I think we have to treat crypto as though it is a security so that it could be regulated like stocks. There has to be a regulation scheme so people aren't scamming other people. And we see too often, especially with Trump meme coins and Melania meme coins and a lot of these MAGA meme coins, that they are scams. All right, going back to Democratic Senator Duckworth, who's just ripping to shreds this ambassador to Singapore. He doesn't know the most basic things here. He doesn't even know what the amount of the trade surplus is between the United States and Singapore. Here, watch this.
I have my doubts. So my questions are going to be to allow you to assuage my doubts and win my vote. Dr. Sinha, I need to know that you understand some basic facts about Singapore and its critical relationship with the United States. For example, in 2024, did the United States have a trade deficit with Singapore? Yes or no? It did not. How large was the U.S.'s trade surplus with Singapore in 2024?
$80 billion. $18 billion.
2.8. You're off by a huge factor. The United States had a 2.8 billion trade surplus with Singapore in 2024. If confirmed, how would you explain our friendship in Singapore to the president? How would you explain to our friends in Singapore the president's threats to slap tariffs as high as 25% on their country, given that the United States has nearly 3 billion trade surplus with Singapore?
Thank you for your question, Senator. We are not walking away for any dialogue between the two countries and two leaders. If confirmed, I will make a personal relation with the government of Singapore, and I will make sure the dialogue continues and we settle the issues of trade together.
Do you support increasing a tariff on Singapore, seeing as how we don't have they buy more of our stuff than we buy of theirs?
So, Senator,
So you want to put a tariff on them?
thank you for your question, Senator. You know that we have President has only done 10% of trade increase with the Singapore, and he's open to dialogue even for that.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that 10% increase with Singapore? It seems how they don't have a surplus with us.
Well, I
Yes or no? Do you support the president's plan to put a 10% tariff on Singapore goods produced in Singapore?
I mean, Senator, thank you for your question, but I believe in President's decision of a free trade with any nations in the world, and he's resetting the trade numbers with each country, and he's open for discussion and dialogue with each countries.
So you would like to have free trade with Singapore? That's what you would push for as ambassador?
Well, we always had free trade with Singapore since 2004.
So why so do you support the 10% increase, tariff increase?
The dialogue is not yet closed. The door is not closed.
Let's go on to the next thing.
You ever realize how ridiculous your old wallet was after you finally upgrade? I used to carry around this bulky, beat-up leather brick that barely fit in my pocket, cards falling out, cash crumpled up. I generally think it hurt my back. Then I found Ridge, and I've been obsessed ever since. I love my Ridge wallet. It is slim, sleek, and somehow holds up to 12 cards plus cash, all in this incredibly compact, modern design. Mine is the sea glass aluminum version, and I've gotten so many compliments on it, no joke. These are built with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. This thing will never fall apart, and it comes with a lifetime warranty, so it is literally the last wallet I will ever need. And I love this. It has RFID blocking technology, so no digital thieves are sneaking off with your info. I never realized how easy it was for thieves to steal your info by you simply being in their presence. Well, Ridge gives you peace of mind in your pocket. There's even a Ridge AirTag attachment, so you could always know where it is before you start to panic. And for a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code Meidas at checkout. So just head to ridge.com and use code Meidas, MEIDAS, and you're all set. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you.
Now, here's the thing with these MAGA Republicans. They always come unprepared. And as I like to say, to me, we shouldn't view this in just political terms. Like Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. Like we should just want smart people, competence, right? And so when you see the Department of Homeland Security Secretary yesterday, Kristi Noem, and she held this conference, and there's some real serious questions that need to be asked about what happened in Texas. In addition to the fact that there were 6 major vacancies at the National Weather Service, including a key vacancy for the meteorologist coordinator. Local officials say they didn't get the warnings that they needed, and they were pointing fingers at the feds and the forecast from the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service says we did give the warnings, but 72 hours went by from the floods before Kristi Noem actually activated some of the emergency equipment to save people's lives. That's completely unacceptable. And so questions need to be asked. Why did you do that? Why did it take you 72 hours? But instead, she wants to attack former President Biden, and she somehow accuses him of the fires in Hawaii, which FEMA was there right away. But she tries to imply that as a result of FEMA, 1 in 6 women were basically sexually assaulted in order to get aid. I think that's what she's saying here. Play this clip.
And then after the wildfires in Maui, residents voiced concerns that every FEMA employee that they spoke with had different answers. None of them had conversations that resulted in getting assistance that was helpful or any clarity in their situations. The situation in Lahaina was so bad that 1 in 6 survivors were forced to trade sexual favors, other favors for just basic supplies.
And so it's always an attack on, but focus on what's happening right now in Texas, 120 deaths, 160 people still missing, most of the dead children. I understand it's a one and, it's an unprecedented event, but you can't keep saying unprecedented, nothing we could do. Yes, there is things you can do. Stop it. Cut it out. Of course, there's things that you can do. And here she is saying, you know what, at the end of the day, we must respect states' rights. States' rights matter the most. They should be handling this, not the feds. Here, play this clip.
State and local leaders know that their communities, they know what they need better than the government ever could. They know their exact needs and they know how best to prepare. People forget that the states are older than the Constitution and that they created the Constitution, that federalism matters and states' rights need to be respected. We need to focus more on helping, not hindering, and state and local authorities need to be empowered. We don't take charge of them. We give them the opportunity to lead the way.
Really? Because y'all federalized the National Guard right away in Los Angeles to attack the citizens of Los Angeles, but you had to wait 72 hours before taking any action when it came to the floods in terms of bringing some of the critical emergency equipment. What the hell is wrong with these people? And speaking of what the hell is wrong with these people, here's the mayor of Kurville. And here's this guy. He's being asked basic questions. And he's like, guess what? I'm not going to answer you. You're going to do it my way or the highway. Okay? Here, play this clip.
To use that morning? I'm sorry, I do not know.
Mr. Mayor,
listen, people are yelling, and I didn't really want y'all to.
If you offer only 3 questions, then you're going to have to.
Guess what? You're in Kurville, and we're going to do it my way.
I understand that.
Morgan Chesky, please.
That's how you're answering. I'm the mayor. You're in Kurville. All right. Well, you clearly don't even know how to handle emergency management in your own city. So you probably shouldn't be the mayor of Kurville. It's all this good old boy, this is how we do it. Why would we ever do that? Why is the government? These are not competent human beings. Okay. They're not competent human beings. They're just not doing their jobs. And then when something happens, nothing we can do about it. Just got to pray. Nothing we can do about it. Just, it is what it is. No, that's not true. That's not freaking true. Stop gaslighting us with this crap. Here, the Kurville mayor is asked an important question about flood warnings. Shouldn't you have flood warnings? I don't want to talk about that. Here, play this clip.
The concept of flood warnings has been discussed at least 24 times by the county. What's the biggest reason that these systems have not gone into place at this point?
Morgan, you and I grew up here. And I wasn't in office during those discussions. And frankly, I'm more focused on the future than the past, as you know. What I can say is the governor, the lieutenant governor, the speaker of the Texas House have all provided us support, and they have all said this is a priority for the upcoming special legislative session. As mayor of Kurville, as someone who grew up here, I'm grateful for their support, and I look forward to what they proposed during the special session.
Okay, I'm sorry that inconveniences you to talk about things, but we need a reckoning of what the hell went down. And here he goes, my wife's a first grade teacher. Stop acting like first graders. Here, play this clip.
I'm married to a retired first grade teacher. And I learned a little bit about classroom management from her. If you yell questions at us, we're probably going to pick someone else to answer, okay? So if you feel the need to yell your questions, I will feel the need to not answer your question. In first grade, they raised their hands. That might be a good start. Yesterday was a disaster, and I was embarrassed. Our town was embarrassed. Your viewers were embarrassed. And I don't want that to happen again.
Stop acting like, what are these people talking about? Finally, I'll show you this. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin took to the Senate floor and he talked about how the Trump regime is rescinding all of the funding for public TV. And he's like, also public TV plays a major role in disaster warning. So can we not cut funding for something that was once always bipartisan? Here, play this clip.
This request would cut $1.1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. Do you listen to public radio, public TV? Are you aware of what it does for your community? This would eliminate any federal assistance for a Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It includes $700 million that's eliminated, to provide critical funding for local public media. This would devastate more than 1,500 public radio and TV stations across this country. Bottom line, do you think we're better off with less information as Americans or more? Bottom line, do you want a choice to pick your own source of information? Do you want that choice to include Corporation for Public Broadcasting? The president says, no, we're not going to provide the assistance for that to continue. What it means is for small towns in downstate Illinois, all the way up to Chicago, and the classrooms there, public media stations provide essential, nonpartisan news coverage, life-saving emergency and weather alerts, and educational program for our kids. I don't know the circumstances in Texas for this terrible flooding, and I don't want to presume anything. But as a general rule, more emergency information available to American families is better than worse.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. We're going to hold them accountable every step of the way. I'm not afraid to report this stuff. I'm just telling you the truth. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.meidastouch.com. All 100% USA union made.